Hello and welcome to another episode of the ZTV Sports Report, your home for all things Akron Zips athletics. I'm your host, Megan Williams.
And I'm Zach Leininger.
And in today's episode, we are going to be continuing our coverage of the swimming and diving team and both basketball teams. So don't go anywhere, because the ZTV Sports Report starts now. Our swimming and diving team recently competed in the MAC championship, and to no one's surprise, we won everything. Our final score in first place was 726 points to Ohio, and second place is 637. So it's clear that we just blew every other team out of the water at this point. I'm pretty sure that every team coming into the MAC championship is just shaking in their boots because they know they have to go up against us.
Right.
They're never prepared. They think they are, and then they see how good we are, and they're like, what are we going to do? But Abigail Daniel, as always, was just a star for us, broke multiple pool records, got most outstanding senior and most outstanding
Swimmer.
swimmer. And I'm just so happy for her. I'm not shocked. She has just been a legend ever since she joined this team. So what would you like to say?
Yeah, I think this really comes as no surprise to any of us that have followed the swimming and diving team, over the last few years. And it just reminds me of last episode when we were talking about this team. And we mentioned that if this team continued to perform and continued to swim the way they have all year, there was really no team that stood a chance of competing with them or beating them. And this MAC championship proves just that. As you mentioned, 726 to 637, really not like it was a close battle.
No,
not like last time we were in Buffalo a few years back, losing by I think a point there.
That's so sad.
And but this they completely turned it around, put up a very dominating performance, and really put their stamp once again on the MAC conference.
Yeah.
You mentioned Abby Daniel. Someone else I want to mention is Felicia Clintmar. She wins MAC Freshman of the Year, which I think is just another bright spot for this team. Because we have girls like Abby Daniel, Maddie Gatrell, that are leaving the program, that are graduating out. But it's really nice to see people like Felicia that are having a great start to their career. That it's only going to continue to propel this team forward. As you mentioned, multiple pool records set, not just on this last day, but I know we set 2 in the second day of the competition, and just really had amazing performances all across the board. From El Couture in the 1650 freestyle, brings home third there. Had some top 3 finishes in the diving part of this meet. One thing that I really want to bring to everyone's attention, aside from the pool records, Abby Daniel's 200 individual medley performance also set a MAC championship record.
Go her.
So not only were we, setting records in the pool, but just all time in the MAC championship for the women. It's just, I think whenever those performances come up, they're obviously a big deal. It's a major accomplishment for anyone, not just Abby, but just anybody that gets in the pool and performs. But really, this swimming and diving team capped off and another amazing season. Again, not to bring up Abby Daniel again, but it was just released that Abby has been invited to the NCAA championships, which is just amazing.
Love to hear it.
It's great whenever you get an opportunity to perform on the biggest stages, because not only does that bring notoriety and attention to the individuals, but also to the program, and I think that does wonders for our recruiting and just our seasons down the line of bringing in top level swimmers to continue to perform and dominate across the conference.
Yeah.
And so I think that once again, Brian Parisi has this has this team in a great position. 11 championships in 12 seasons. I'm pretty sure he's won just about every year he's been the coach. Really, I see no signs of them slowing down.
No.
Seems like we're only continuing to build from this. We're continuing to be dominant every year in and out of the pool. So it's just really exciting to see, and I'm really happy for not just the team, but what it does for Akron here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's quite clear that this team is just dominant. That will wrap up our conversation of the swimming and diving team for the semester. But now we are going to switch it over to the women's basketball team and talk about their matchup against the Miami Redhawks. So, as we talked last episode, our team has just kind of been struggling this entire season, which, I mean, it's no one's fault. There's just been so many injuries. It's just kind of hard to figure it out at this point. Honestly, though, our girls have been really impressing me with all that being said, because in this game at halftime, we weren't even losing by that much, so go us.
Right.
It just seems to happen this way that the team starts out the first 3 quarters of the game really well, is in it, and then sadly by the fourth quarter they're just drained.
Yeah.
Their energy is completely just at all-time low at that point. And the other team, whoever it is, in this case it was Miami, is able to just take over at that point and beat us. The final score of this game was 70-58, so obviously not the best final score for a Zips fan. Shelby Brown did amazing this game, as always, let's be honest.
Right.
24 points is just amazing, followed up by 2 10-point performances by Emily Hall and Maddie Vasicki. So what would you like to say about this Miami game?
Megan, I think you really hit the nail on the head at the beginning there. Just another example of really how this season has gone.
Yeah.
21-17 through the first quarter. Then at halftime, it's 31-30. So still holding on to a lead there. But then Miami in the third quarter dominates 19-16, and then 21-11 to finish it out. And I agree with you completely that it's really just a matter of just energy and just our ability to finish out these games. It's hard to put it on these girls and expect them to perform, and not just in an individual game, but on a nightly basis, and considering the practices and just things going on throughout the week. They're human like the rest of us. As you mentioned, Shelby Brown, 24 points, 9 rebounds. She's absolutely excelled and exploded in her role, and stepped up and been a true leader for this team as the injuries have piled on. Maddie Vasicki continued to do her thing, really kind of just shooting at will. And I think that's something that helps this team. It's just you're just looking for ways to stay in the game and to be competitive. So why not just let it fly? And Maddie's shooting pretty good. I think somewhere around 40% from 3 this year. So she's knocks down a good bit of her threes, doing a good job of leading the team on that side of the ball. Emily Hall, I thought, had a great game in this one. 10 points, 2 for 4 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, but also brings in 8 rebounds for as little as she is. It's amazing that she's able to do that. But yeah, it's just hard. It's really hard to really pinpoint one exact issue for this team. Obviously there's things we could do better, but at the end of the day, when you don't have enough players coming in and out, and Miami runs, 13 players here or something in the course of the game, and we have like 8. It's hard to compete, especially ladies like Amber Treader has been a dominant forward for Miami over the last few years. Maya Chandler, Emily Bratton, just a number of players on the Miami side that
definitely
have just made them a competitive team, made them a good program. I mean, coming to this game, they were 7-5 in the MAC, and we were 3-9. So it's to be expected, but it's always so exciting when they jump out to these giant leads. Just like, all right, we got this. I just feel like we play with so much more heart than the other teams.
We do.
It's just at the end of the day, we just are physically unable to finish out the games, and there's not much more we can do there. one of the things that really caught my eye throughout this season is just the amount of close games we've had over the course of this season. I mean, a 12-point last year. From my memory, the last, in this 13-game losing streak they were on, it's like the number of games that were within 10 points or even within single digits was just staggering, which is mind-blowing.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just sucks because you just wish players like Cameron Rhodes didn't tear ACL or Tanisha Clark get hurt. Just losing these players along the way, you just wish they were there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this just puts a lot of pressure on Ryan Gensler and his staff. Just a lot of scrutiny and criticism that comes their way. But like, what more do we really want them to do? What more can we expect them to do? It really just puts them in a really bad spot. And I'm proud of the performance that they've given us thus far.
Yeah, I mean, after this Miami game, we had another matchup against Ohio. And let's see what Zach Storms thought of that matchup.
What is poppin', people? It's Zachary Storms with the ZTV Sports Report, and today I will be talking about the Zips women's basketball team, specifically their most recent game over the University of Ohio. So let's not wait and hop right into how that matchup went down. In this smack-and battle of the Midwest, this game marked each team's 15th game of the MAC competition. Unfortunately, both teams having under 500 records. Looking at this game, both teams looked almost dead even at the end of the first half, with the end of the first half score being 30-31 advantage University of Ohio. With it being a 2-point difference after the third quarter, it wasn't until the University of Ohio dropped 25 in the fourth to extend their lead and ultimately claim victory. The final score was Ohio University 70, Akron 62. However, leading the Zips in scoring this game was Maddie Vasicki, who ended the game with 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist, while teammate Nyra Clark dropped 13 points and 11 rebounds of her own, giving her a double-double. Emily Hall also had a good game, with 11 points on top of 5 rebounds and an assist for herself. The Bobcats were led by Aaliyah McWhorter, who dropped 18 points and added on to her stats with 4 rebounds and 2 assists. The next closest in points for the Bobcats was Bailey Tabling, who had 16 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals. This will be the last time these two teams face in the MAC this season. Both teams hold 2 of the bottom 3 positions in the MAC, however, neither being in last place. This has been Zachary Storms with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips!
Thank you, Zach Storms. So, this Ohio game was just pretty much a replay of the Miami-Ohio game, just a different team. First quarter, 19-11 us, great. Second quarter, we only scored 11 points. They scored 20. Not the vibes. We were losing by 1 at halftime. Third quarter, same thing. They outscored us by 1 point, but then the fourth quarter, we were just kind of too far gone at this point. The final score was 70-62, so a little bit closer than the Miami game, but still a loss is a loss, For our team, Vasicki once again and Emily Hall both had amazing games, but a new girl notched her name in the high-scoring players this game, and that was Nyra Clark. Good for her. She has been great for us this season, really doing what we needed to. We had 25 turnovers this game, which is just not at all helpful to us. Nice. Ohio was able to get 22 points off of turnovers, so they literally almost got a point every single turnover, and that's just not what we want to see. So what do you want to add about this game?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's hard to follow what you just said because I completely agree. Just another rinse and repeat game from the last, I don't know how many games in a row I've seen this play out. We get out to a hot start and control the game. Whoever else we're playing, in this case Ohio, brings it back, and then just in that second half of the game they just pull away and we're just not able to keep up with them. As you mentioned, Nyra Clark, great to see her performing the way she has, 13 and 11 this game.
Definitely.
I think she truly is the future of this program.
Yeah.
Only being a freshman this year, I think she's made strides throughout the season. Obviously had the ability to do so with the limited number of girls on the court. She's gotten a lot more time than I think other freshmen would have gotten. But I think that it's better. I just think the more you're on the floor, the more you're able to compete in real time only continues to make you better. I think one of the things I heard over the last few broadcasts that one of the things from Nyra, not in this game specifically, only one foul, but she's fouled out of, I think, 5 of the games this year. It's just been a thing of, I just don't think she's quite adjusted to the college level of basketball.
Yeah.
I just think, the physicality and, just the way the opponents are able to draw fouls, I don't think she's quite ready for. But I completely believe in, Ryan Gensler and in Nyra herself to turn this around. I mean, the sky is the limit for her and her ability.
It definitely is.
Behind players like, Visicki and Shelby Brown, leading the way for her and creating a path and allowing her to be successful, I think is great for this team. As you mentioned, 25 turnovers. Way too many to already be in the position you're in. Being down to 8 or 9 players, whatever the case may be. And then just to stack that on top of it and just give your opponent free points in a game that you really can't afford to give up any other points. Especially when you're playing players like Bailey Tabling, Kennedy Watkins. I mean, Tabling leads the way with 16, or actually second highest scorer. Aaliyah McWarther leads the way for Ohio with 18 off the bench, followed by Bailey Tabling with 16. Just some high level players in the MAC, just some top performers that we see game after game. Kennedy Watkins with 13, 3 for 6 from 3 in this game. It's just, at the end of the day, it's, again, as we've mentioned, it just seems to become too much for this team. I don't think it's necessarily that these teams are better than us. It's just, again, the position that we're in.
Yeah.
And I just think if things were different, who knows how this season would have played out. I mean, we can play ifs all day long, but it really doesn't change the way it is. I just think what we've seen this season is going to be good moving into next season. As long as none of these players move around, I think if we are able to bring back Visicki and Shelby Brown, Nyra continues to develop. Lisa continues to develop a little more here. I think that truly they have a good future. I know we say this about a lot of teams all the time. I just really think if you have those few more players to be in there to give players like Shelby and Maddie and Nyra rest, and allow them to rehydrate and get back out on the court, will drastically change how this team performs. And we'll just have to wait and to see how the rest of this plays out and see how it moves into next season.
Yeah. Our ladies sadly are out of the running for the MAC tournament.
Right.
We have 2 more home games left for the season, once against Kent State and once against Eastern Michigan. So I just hope for them that they can maybe just get one more win so they can finally get off of this 13-game losing streak, because that's just not fun.
Yeah, I think that Eastern one is going to be a game we can win.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Eastern's the bottom of this conference. So,
yeah, they are.
So that'll be a game I expect to see.
Yeah, I hope so. And that's going to be senior night, so I really hope we can win that one. It is now time to go into our first commercial break, but after that, we're going to talk about men's basketball. So stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go. Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family. I thought you were on my team.
Welcome back. It is now time to talk about our dominant men's basketball team. So recently, we went up against the Western Michigan Broncos, and pretty much just like the rest of the season, our guys were able to absolutely just dominate the floor in this game. Both Johnsons got 22 points and 17 points respectively. Good old Johnson and Johnson. Everybody loves those two guys. And then we had 3 other guys scoring double digits. 15 points by Amani Lyles, 12 by Bowen, and 10 from Isaiah. Thank you, guys. Those guys are just great. I love when we have 5 guys scoring double digits. That's just super fun for us. But Chauncey did amazing on the other side for Western. He was their top scorer. 28 points is crazy.
Yeah.
And then they had 4 other guys scoring double digits as well. Good for them. But they just couldn't beat us, you know?
Yeah.
The final score was 105-92. So at a certain point, we just kind of ran off of this game and didn't look back. After this game, we had another home game against the NIU Huskies, and we got to celebrate the one and only Enrique Freeman, everyone's favorite Akron Zip.
Oh, yeah.
His uniform got hung in the rafters, and we had this just beautifully cinematic presentation at halftime. I loved it. I was like, oh my God, don't cry. I almost cried like 5 times. Coach Gross almost cried, honestly. It was beautiful.
Yeah, very emotional night.
Very emotional. But, you know, our guys did not play like Enrique Freeman was in the building. The final score of this game was 73-63. And NIU coming into this game was not having a good season at all. So I think all of us were like, oh, we got this. Enrique Freeman's going to see us absolutely like run this team out the building. That didn't happen. I'm really scared as to why this went this way. But what do you want to say about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on with that. I just think that seems like the attention in this game was on, you know, all this buzz around Enrique Freeman being there. And I don't know if any of that bled into the locker room or affected the players at all.
Yeah.
It just felt like, you know, we weren't ready to play.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, you know, and it could be the fact, you know, of the massive win streak this team went on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's hard to, you know, game in and game out to continue that same level of performance.
Definitely.
It's really draining on these players, and I can understand how this would happen. But obviously, not something that you were expecting. I mean,
not at all.
Akron 12-0 coming into this game. Meanwhile, NIU is 1-11. Like, the worst, one of the worst, if not the worst team in the MAC. And you could just tell on the faces throughout the building, it was just like, what is going on? You know, Gross calling timeouts early, not happy with this team whatsoever, as he should be, as he, you know, I wouldn't be happy with them either. Quentin Jones for NIU, to their credit, 28 points. I mean, just shooting at will, just really finding his spots in this game and, you know, finding success early. You know, no one else besides Kaylin Nichols with 11 is the only other player over double digits. So not really anything too crazy on the NIU side. It was just really more on Akron's side of this, that they just weren't playing up to the level they should. I mean, after this Western Michigan game, they scored 105 points in. You know, they only scored 73 against NIU. It was just like the drop off is just insane.
Massive.
Truthfully, it's crazy to look at, and I just think it's really some things Akron, you know, needed to tighten up on in these games. Is just, you know,
that's fair.
You know, giving up 92 to Western. You know, they score 105, but giving up 92 points.
That's
like,
not the defense we want.
Generally, if your other team is scoring 92 points, you're losing that game. You know, just like you can't allow that, you know, on a regular basis and expect to win, you know, at least comfortably. You know, but you know, it's then, you know, kind of bled into the NIU game, and it's just, you know, we were letting them stay close, letting them keep it way too close. You know, we were really kind of shooting willy-nilly, just at will. We were, you know, had some weird possessions where we just needed to slow down more and get to our spots and just be in control of the game, because we were too many times in this game we were letting NIU control the pace of the game.
Definitely.
And, you know, we can't do that. I think it's just it seems like we shook it off though into the second half. I mean, outscored them 45-32, and brought it home. In the end, they figured it out. They turned the game around and came home with the win, especially on Enrique Freeman night, which was really all we needed to see. It's just, things that needed to be cleaned up, heading into Kent State.
Yeah, I'm not shocked that this happened. It just was not fun to watch as a Zips fan, like especially that us being losing by 1 or 2 at halftime. I was like, Enrique's gonna cry, guys. But yeah, so I'm not shocked it happened. It just wasn't what I wanted to see at all. But it is now time for a second commercial break. But after that, we're gonna talk Kent State. So stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
What is it, Julia? Why are you so excited, honey? Hey, do you want to use your talker? With Julia's autism, using a talker can help her find the words she wants to say.
My dog.
You want to do something with Rose, Julia?
Play ball.
Do you want to play catch with Rose? I think Rose is excited to play catch too. Oh, Julia, you show us so many different ways to talk together. Oh, and play. Good catch, Rose. Okay, give Julia the ball. There you go. Okay, throw the ball, Julia. Oh.
For Julia's family, early screening for autism made a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Okay, Julia, there you go. Whoa, another good throw. That's the way.
Yeah.
Sam, Elmo.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Welcome back. It is now time to talk about the men's basketball game versus Kent State. So let's see what Zach Leininger thought of this game.
What's going on, everybody? Zach Leininger here, and today I'm breaking down the most anticipated men's basketball game of the season, the rivalry matchup against the Kent State Golden Flashes. Akron came into this game holding the #1 spot in the MAC, boasting a 14-1 conference record, while Kent State climbed the conference standings over the last month, finding themselves in 3rd with a 9-6 conference record. Despite the raucous crowd packed into the jar, the Golden Flashes were able to maintain their composure and make the game competitive throughout the opening half. The Zips jumped out to an early 12-5 lead before Kent State came storming back to take the lead and blow the game open, creating a 26-16 advantage midway through the first half. On par with the way the game was going, Akron went on a 12-4 run to bring it to a 30-28 score with only a few minutes left in the first. From there, the Golden Flashes continued their dominance, carrying a 39-32 lead into the break. Kent State opened the second half with a Jalen Solinger 3 to put themselves up 10. The Zips once again battled back to bring the game to within 3. Akron then fought neck and neck with the Golden Flashes and eventually found their first lead of the game since the 13:50 mark of the first half. To no one's surprise, Kent State went on another tear, pushing the score to 62-54 with just over 8 minutes remaining. When Zips fans thought all hope was lost, Akron rallied back and took a 68-67 lead off of this smooth layup by Tabari Johnson. The game remained close through the last few minutes. However, the Zips offense proved to be too strong as this massive two-hand jam by Amani Lyles put Akron up 5 with only a minute and a half left in the contest. The Zips went on to win 77-72, earning Akron their 5th straight win against the Golden Flashes. Leading the way for the Zips was Tavari Johnson, who scored 16 points, shooting 2 for 5 from 3. Also providing a huge spark for Akron was Nate Johnson, who had a well-rounded game, scoring 14 points, grabbing 10 rebounds, and tacking on 4 assists. For Kent State, they were led by Jalen Solinger, who scored a game-high 19 points, shooting 3 for 6 from downtown. Additionally for the Golden Flashes was Marquise Barnett, who scored 14 points and pulled down 7 boards. With this win, the Zips claimed the regular season MAC title for the first time since 2020 and look to be in full control of their own destiny as they head into the MAC tournament. This has been Zach Leininger with the ZTV Sports Report, and as always, go Zips!
Thank you, Zach Leininger. So, the same energy of that NIU game kind of just seeped into this Kent State game. We started out so bad this Kent State game. Like, I was watching this game on my couch, and I was like, guys, who are we? I don't recognize this team. I'm scared. I was literally looking at my dad like, what is happening? I don't want to watch this. I'm nervous. But second half, we found ourselves again. I think Coach Gross probably said, guys, I don't know what we're doing at halftime. But yeah, we found it eventually, and the final score was 77-72, way closer than I thought it would be. We only had 2 guys in double digits this game, which is very unlike us. Normally we at least have like 4. The Johnsons again. Tavari had 16 and Nate had 14. But everybody else was just like in 9, 8, 7 range. Kent State had 3 players in double digits, so good for us that we were able to hold that off. Yeah. But what do you need to say about this specific game?
Yeah, I mean, this game felt very reminiscent of last year's MAC championship game.
Yeah.
Just was a game that I believe Akron was leading at halftime in that game. Regardless, was still a close game. It just seems like it must just be the rivalry, feeling that, it just causes this, just Kent to rise to it and, us to kind of to match that. It's just, I don't know, we seem bound by that for some reasons. I don't know. But, as you mentioned, this Kent State game did not start off the way we wanted it to. Kent State up 39-32. Shema Scott had a really nice steal, a spinning layup to
that was such a good
to give us some much needed momentum going into the second half to kind of end on a positive play.
Yeah, that was a great way to end the first half.
Because guys like Jalen Solinger for Kent State, I mean, he was doing this last year. 19 led the way for them. Marquise Barnett with 14. One of my favorite players, truthfully, even though he plays for Kent State, Von Cameron Davis. I love everything that Von Cameron Davis does. He's a phenomenal player. Only 9 in this game, so really kept him at bay. Just seemed like that their guards were really the ones that were giving us some trouble. And it really seems, as you mentioned, the energy from the NIU game seeped into this. Yeah. But also prior to this game, we got a 13-game winning streak there, I think it was, and then unfortunately lost on the road to Ohio.
That was so sad.
Which wasn't what we wanted to see, but I think it was just the kind of messing with our head.
Wake-up call that we needed.
Yeah. A wake-up call, but just also I feel like it kind of rattled us a little bit to really try to find ourselves again and to be that team that we've been as the dominant force this whole season. But again, I think it's just typical John Gross fashion. Just regardless of how the game is going, he coaches this team the same way, whether they're down 20 or whether they're up 20. I've seen them miss an open 3 up 15 and Gross's face is all red, veins pop, and he's just exploding, and it's like, whoa, coach, hold on, we'll be okay. But I think that's the exact nature that they need. because he's really able to rally them well, much like last year in the Kent State game.
Definitely.
Obviously, it didn't come down to free throws like last year, where we shouldn't have won that game. I really, truthfully, don't think we probably deserved to win this game either. Just in the way we had been playing. At the end of the day, we do, of course, so I'll take it. But
a win's a win.
Right. But we really just did a much better job of. I think one of the biggest things was controlling the glass in this game. I think Kent was just, all over us in the first half and got into us late in the second, but I think we really did a good job, especially from Nate with 10 rebounds, James Okonkwo with 7. Just did a good job of, being there and frustrating them more in the second half. Again, just getting the ball back and playing at our pace, getting into our spots, playing our brand of basketball. And it sets us up nicely for the end of the season. This Kent State game allowed Akron to be the regular season MAC champions, which means absolutely nothing if we don't win the MAC tournament, Like, it's great, it's a nice award, we get to cut the net, big celebration, but at the end of the day, if they don't, take it all the way and win, then there's no NCAA tournament, there's nothing further, it just ends here for us, and just everything we've done just kind of crumbles to the ground in disappointing fashion. I don't see that happening, much like the swimming and diving team we talked about earlier. I think if Akron continues to play the brand of basketball it played this year, continuing to push the ball in transition, be more efficient on our threes, just working the ball around, finding spots, not settling for weird, crazy turnaround jump shots or layups over 3 people, stuff like that. Just if we can, just settle in and be who we are, I see no reason that this team doesn't win the MAC championship for the second year in a row here.
Yeah, definitely.
And just sets himself on the course for another NCAA title run.
Yeah, I mean, after this Kent State game, we have one more home game, which is going to be senior night, where we celebrate our 3 seniors this season. But after that, we get to go play in the big dance of the MAC championship, which is going to be super fun. We're not quite sure who we're playing yet. We just know they were the first seed, which is always nice to have. But with all that being said, it is the end of the episode. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram at X at ZTV Sports and on YouTube at ZTV Sports Report. And as always, I'm Megan Williams.
And I'm Zach Leininger.
Thank you for watching, and go Zips!
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.